Brother, there is no person more responsible for the fucking idiotic capsizing of the Titanic sub than literally a white guy. So even when it's a white guy who's directly responsible, these fucking dumbass Nazis look at that and go, it must have been the black women that he hired. Like, what are you saying? How stupid can you get is a real question that we must ask ourselves on this beautiful day. And the answer to that is Tim Pool's stupid. Does anyone have the clip that I'm talking about? Because Tim Pool, folks, he had a phenomenal take. A phenomenal take about the Boeing Alaska Airlines 737 Boeing flight. For those of you who don't know what happened on this Alaska Airlines flight, I'll give you a brief analysis on it. Okay, first and foremost. Oh, do you have the video? You found it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's so good. It's so fucking good. So, for those of you who have been under a rock, there was a very viral video that came out over the weekend, okay, of a Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 flight that had a little bit more breathing room, okay? Popped off on TikTok, popped off on Twitter. Turns out one of the doors that was not being used as a door just kind of popped out, okay? Extra ventilation, if you will. Now, because of this, hours after the Alaska Airlines flight, they had to make an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon, because a door plug blew out. Passengers received an email from the carrier. And what are they receiving? They're receiving $1,500 to assist with any inconveniences and a full refund for the aborted flight. Now, that's not the main story here. Now, the door situation was kind of funny, kind of interesting. Luckily, nobody died. Nobody actually was injured. The people sitting on that row were accidentally not on that flight. Okay? Now, you say not a door, an actual panel. It's a panel where there is supposed to be a door. The Alaska Airlines is not using it as a door, however. So, technically, it is a panel. So, yeah, here, I'll show you the video, too. Here it is. Not even 20 minutes into the flight, a part of the plane flew off. There you go, extra breathing room. Now, it's an emergency exit door? No, it's not. It is supposed to be an emergency exit door, and in certain airplanes, it can be used as an emergency exit door. On this plane, however, this airline is not using it as an emergency exit door, so you're not correct on that, okay? There is no door there. There is no door there. It's just simply a panel, okay? Now, I am not an aviation expert. However, I do know many aviation experts, some of which I did consult. Why did I do this? Because I wanted to see whether there was any veracity to the claims being made by Tim Pool here, claims that I also saw Elon Musk also hype up after I noticed that, like, this new story was being presented as yet another way that black people are actually dumber than white people. So let's take a look at what the real responsibility, who the real responsible parties are in the Boeing Alaska Airlines 737. Is it capitalism? Is it cost cutting? Is it corner cutting? Is it an endless profit-seeking structure that has created worse and worse products? Or is it simply a hypothetical black pilot who's just much dumber than a white pilot? Well, let's take a look.
Was erased. The question is why? Now, they'll come on and say, oh, it was just an accident. It's an accident. But I wonder if there's actually some malfeasance in that right now it's an argument that the planes are no good. Following this report, we've got new information that loose bolts are found on door plugs on grounded United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets. These door plugs are areas of the plane. They're not emergency exits. They're optional. Some they do use, some they don't. I'm wondering how much of this is actually the planes are bad, or Are we looking at a diversity hire problem where we have these pilots who are incapable of doing their jobs? And so you're getting...
Just say the M word, man. Just say the N word. Like, what is this? What is this song and dance we are playing, dog? What is happening? Yo, there is nothing more cucked than being a conservative in 2024 where you just want to say it so bad and you're constantly shackled by woke culture, stopping you from being able to say it because then you'll be perceived as a racist. So you have to constantly find new initiatives to be like, DEI, CRT. Meanwhile, you just want to say the N-word. That's it. That's it, brother. Because there is no better situation where you tried to spear dick this DEI initiative nonsense, okay? Where, like, the responsibility of the pilot is so stupid. He's not even talking about a diversity mechanic hire, chatter. No. He's trying to say it must be black pilots.
Getting pilot error. Maybe the cabin was pressurized in.
No. It gets so much dumber. Please.
Jobs. And so you're getting pilot error. Maybe the cabin was pressurized incorrectly, causing the door to blow out. They're then yelling in the cockpit, what did you do? What did you press? Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button. And then they realize we will get in trouble and be sued if people find out what we admitted to here. So they erase the black box voice recorder. So then it's a, oops, we have no idea. It must just be the planes are no good.
I love that, dude. I love that so much. I love that. He's like, what if it's a DEI pilot and they accidentally hit a button. There's just that big old eject the door button there, okay? And they hit it, okay? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, dude. I hit the eject door button. Stop. And then the other pilot's like, no, dude, as black pilots, we're so stupid and worse than white pilots. And you're also a gay woman, black pilot. Oh, no, we just said it on public record. What do we do? Like, that's what happened. Like, in his mind, this is the events that unfolded. So I looked into it, right? Like, I wanted to understand if there is any physical way that panel could have actually gotten yeeted as a consequence of pilot error, okay? And the answer is no. So if he was talking about DEI, you could have probably said black mechanics are getting hired due to DEI. You could have said, I don't know, Boeing is hiring more black and brown engineers as a consequence of DEI, and they're bad at their jobs. Like, even then, I'm teaching you how to be better at racism, dog. You could have done a better job. You're not even trying. He said, it's the black and brown possible diversity hire pilots that hit the magical ejecto patronum door button. And that's what happened when it's not even a fucking door. There's no door there. It's a panel. But they erased the black box law is just like, yeah, there is a bandwidth to how many hours it records. They recorded over it. Okay. We talked about this already. By the way, we don't even know if the pilots are black or not. Like, that's the other part about it. We don't even know if they're DEI pilots. What if they're white? But to Tim Pool, it doesn't matter. Okay? That's the funniest part about it. It was a woman pilot. Oh, there you go. It's that's it. They're making women pilots now. Nope. There you have it.
Ashley St. Clair was tweeting about a flight that landed from Newark, New Jersey, and it bounced on the runway, hard landing, nearly totaling the plane. I think the plane is disabled. It, like, the fuselage looks like it was bent and cracked up. And according to Ashley St. Clair, or I should say, she asked whether or not this was a diversity hire who was fired and then rehired, even though they shouldn't have been. We got a pilot shortage. Flight cancellations like crazy. Are these airlines hiring in large numbers, and are they hiring?
I like that this is what constitutes for reporting. I saw a plane land, and it landed hard. So then I was like, is this a, like a black person or a woman? And they didn't really tell me anything, so I'm just making the rest of this up. But yes, I'm tweeting out that I saw a plane land hard, and I thought to myself, this must be a non-white man pilot. It's awesome. Like, this is just such a cartoonish way of coping about how white men are no longer on top, brother. I mean, they can't even hide it. Like, they all look like they all are listening to Tim, and they're just like, in their minds, they're like, this sucks shit.
For diversity, because we know Boeing's all about it. Take a look at this. Global Equity, Diversity, and
Oh, he's doing it. Never mind. He's doing it. Global Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion
Report. I'm wondering if what's really happening is the infrastructure failures we're seeing are due to the fact that all of these companies for the past...
He's covering his bases. He's like, if it wasn't the woman pilot, if it's not the woman pilot, then it's the women engineer.
Last decade plus have been prioritizing hiring.
Yeah, and planes famously didn't crash before we started hiring black people and women, brown people and women, just women in general, honestly.
Based on ideology instead of meritocracy.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, other than the fact that there was another Twitter account. What is it called? Like IQ or something? The one that does like race science that Elon Musk was replying to, our very own apartheid lover. Wait, what? Diversity is what doomed the Titanic sub. Yeah, no, that's pretty funny too, because this guy's a fucking rabid anti-Semite, I'm pretty sure, right? And he's literally using the diversity hiring has worked out so well in the past. Titanic Tour CEO didn't hire 50-year-old white guys because they weren't inspirational. I love this. Brother, there is no person more responsible for the fucking idiotic capsizing of the Titanic sub than literally a white guy. So even when it's a white guy who's directly responsible, these fucking dumbass Nazis look at that and go, it must have been the black women that he hired. Like, what are you saying? Or identical, when we're talking about failure, the Titanic. It must have been DEI responsible for the Titanic. God, these people are so stupid, dude. Now, before you hyper-focus on my words as far as, like, me saying, like, oh, just say the N-word. You want to say the N-word and be like, no, Hasan, this wasn't about racism against black people. This was specifically against the women. It's the same shit. People love utilizing DEI, first and foremost, against black people, obviously, but also, just in general, against non-white men. That's it. Here is what I wanted to show you. Where is it? You wouldn't want your doctor performing brain surgery? No. This isn't the original one that I was looking at. You wouldn't want your doctor performing brain surgery on you who was an unqualified candidate that was pushed through thanks to DEI initiatives. People need to start suing companies with DEI programs for racial and gender discrimination, bankrupt them 100%. Dude, what are you saying? Oh, here, this is the one. This is the crazy race realist, race sciences guy. Hasanabi is a terrorist. That is all. Absolutely, brother. I terrorize your mother's pussy every night with this dick. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to be vulgar this year, but that was just an opening. Much like what I call your mother's legs. Oh, my God. I'm still at it. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. He wasn't talking about you? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Well, I apologize. I apologize, chatter. I got riled up. I was going to come after your dad, too, and I was going to say I fucked him as well, but this time, we're not going to... Only your mom. She loves it. I'm your father now. I've adopted you. You are my son. Okay? You are my gay son or thought daughter. It's cool. I'm not doubling down. I'm saying it's in a loving manner. Okay? He's literally leaving. He left the chat already. He's like, I'm never returning ever again. 34 MKD50. Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. I've lost him. I've lost another viewer. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. Where were we? The average IQ of U.S. Air Force pilots is about 120. And the figures I've seen for major airline pilots range from 115 to 120. First of all, brother does not know. Where are the figures that he's seen? Like, I love this kind of stuff because they just make stuff up. There's no way. The figures I've seen from major airlines, like I believe the U.S. Air Force numbers, right? Because like they do look for that sort of thing, just, whatever. You know, placing this level of emphasis on IQ is already silly. Okay, but then he's like, major airline pilots range from 115 to 130. By contrast, the mean IQ of graduates from 2 of those United Airline HBCU partners, in air quotes, is about 85 to 90 based on the average SATs at those schools. The SAT correlates reasonably well with IQ. So here's what we've done so far. Okay? Number 1, IQ is already bullshit. Okay? It doesn't mean anything. It just means you're good at test taking. Okay? Which is why the SAT correlates reasonably well with IQ. Number 2, he does not have information on whether or not these hypothetical pilots have been IQ tested and whether they meet the, not standard, the standard that he's claiming, the average IQ range or not. Okay? So now we're 2 layers in. Like, this is why I say, just say the N-word. Okay? Because the reality of the situation is, like, you didn't IQ test the fucking potential black pilots that are joining United Airlines, okay? You didn't do that. You're just saying simply that the HBCU partner, like the HBCU IQ range is 85 to 90, which I don't even know, and he doesn't either, by the way. Guess what? He doesn't know that either because he doesn't actually have the IQ numbers for people that have graduated from HBCUs. He's simply saying it's about 85 to 90 because that's what the SAT scores are. So, like, this man does not even have the data that he claims he has. He's simply making it up. He is, yes, extrapolating. Okay, so now we're not even on the antiquated and, of course, silly but for not forgotten science of art of race science and race realism. He's moved beyond it. He's saying SAT scores correspond or correlate perfectly to IQ. So I am speculating that the HBCU graduates have an IQ rating of around 85 to 90. Okay? But not only that, but you also don't even know if the pilots that have made it to the United Airline pilot program from the HBCU have been IQ tested. They haven't. No one has been IQ tested at this point. And the best part about it is, IQ tests already are not a good indicator of whether or not you're going to be a good pilot. So we're now 3 layers in to this nonsense, okay? To put this into context, the HBCU IQ averages are within 10 points of the threshold of what is considered borderline intellectual impairment. Yeah, except there is no HBCU IQ average. You made it up. You made it up. There is no HBCU IQ average numbers that you have. You made it up. Okay? Not only did he make it up, HBCUs are historic black colleges and universities. Okay? So he's just extrapolating off of made up inferences that he is working off of made up hypotheticals. And at the core of it all is just white supremacy. That's my favorite type of thinking because it's just pure unadulterated racism that is masquerading as an intellectual thought. And why do you do this? Well, you do this because you're cucked. You're a fucking cuck. You are so unimaginably cucked by liberal norms that you can't sig heil like you want to. So suck my dick. Okay? You are more cucked than Sneeko. At that point, you're so desperate to say the N-word, but you can't say it. So you have to run and change people's minds by being like, guys, well, I'm going to do a bodies and spaces here. As a white identitarian, we have to find a scientific principle behind why black people are inferior than white people. And I'm just simply extrapolating data. You're not doing shit. That's it. That's it. You are so unimaginably cucked that you can't do it. You can't say the N-word. You cannot shit on black people openly in the way that you want to, so you have to masquerade it. You have to hide as though, there's real data that you're operating off of. Just say it. So cucked. Whew. This gives me a little bit of hope, And it's the same as like Elon Musk. It will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of die. Okay? Instead of DEI, die. And I love that. Go ahead, Elon. Say black people are worse pilots than white people for no reason. You don't have any data for it, but you want to feel that way, and you will eat up whatever corresponds to your biases. Say it. But you can't do it. You can't do it, can you? Because then, there's some norms you can't cross. There's some boundaries you can't cross, right? You deeply want to say it, but you can't because you're fucking cucked. And that's what they hate the most. Oof. I love it. I love it. That's my silver lining in the cloud, right? These people who are so unimaginably desperate to try to do a little bit of racist agitative propaganda, but can't openly do it in the way that they would be able to if they were unshackled, right? But unfortunately, their contemporaries, their counterparts, they're going to look at them and go, yeah, I don't like this. Okay, I don't like what you're saying. It seems like you're kind of racist, and I don't like that. Racism is bad. Oh, not as bad as the top of the hour ad break, but bad nonetheless. I have a close family friend who used to fly for a major airline, a black male pilot who reported a coworker for flying under the influence of alcohol. They protected the guy who was flying drunk, a white dude, and fired my family friend. DEI my fucking ass. Now, here's the thing, guys. Yeah, the optics would be bad if they say how they feel, but they have to be cucked by optics. That's the point. That's the best part. Okay? 34 MKD50, once again, delivering the greatest initiative, allowing 50 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. The biggest oiler out there. So, by the way, this is a very serious subject. Like, why this malfunction happened is a ginormous problem. You have an entire division in the federal government that dedicates itself to this investigation. You have Boeing that wants to know what happened. You have Alaska Airlines corporate that wants to know what happened. You have multiple unions, from the mechanics all the way to the engineers, all the way to the air stewardesses, all the way to the pilots, all of which want to know what happened. The idea that Tim Pool thought that he could just say, this must be a woman pilot or a black pilot, and DEI initiatives are responsible for this, and get away with it without, like, the truth actually coming out is so silly. But of course, people just want to hear what they want to hear. It doesn't matter. People are going to Tim because they want him to say those things. Okay? He's just giving them what they want to hear, which is, it's not our own personal failures that have caused us to not get positions in society that we were told we were entitled to. It must be some other thing. It must be some woke liberal nonsense that's elevating black people into positions of power. That must be what is going on. That's how white supremacy works. That's how white supremacy operates. Yes, as the chatter said, entitled aggrievement or bereavement, right? Good shit. Anyway, new from Luke W. Goldstein, the Boeing 737 MAX plug door that ripped off on an Alaska Airlines plane only exists because of cost-cutting production techniques to facilitate cramming more passengers into the cabin. Stay with me because this is important. Airlines wanted more seats in planes, but FAA rules mandate a certain number of exit doors per passenger. Boeing preferred making a standard plane regardless of seat configurations, so they built a plug door to fill the exit door space if it wasn't needed. Aggrieved entitlement, yeah. The plug door that fell 16,000 feet into a Portland backyard is a symbol of the desire to overload planes with passengers, of standardized production, and of outsourced subcontractors, and of weak oversight from federal regulators into these dangerous schemes. There it is. So it was deregulation and cost saving and not DEI. Yeah, I mean, it always is the same, man. It's always the same. Of course. Of course, at every step of the process, you can blame capitalism. By the way, the hilarious situation is that this story already happened with another Boeing MAX plane. It's always and forever about the money. It's not some weird, nonsensical, symbolic bullshit like, we got to have more black pilots. And automatically that comes with the assumption we got to have more women pilots. Automatically that comes with the assumption that, like, somehow black pilots or women pilots are just, like, worse than, white male pilots. Like, get the fuck out of here, dumbass. You're stupid and you're getting your audience to believe in dumb shit. That's what you're doing. You're misinforming your audience, and you're basically singing them a fucking lullaby. And guess what happened? In the Boeing 737 MAX crash, Who do you think was blamed first? That's right, ding, 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 pilots. Boeing built an unsafe plane and then blamed the pilots when it crashed. Cost-cutting, corporate arrogance, and a new plane that was supposed to fly easy. An exclusive excerpt from Flying Blind, the 737 MAX tragedy, and the fall of Boeing. It was yet another cost-cutting initiative, okay? They tried to fix a hardware problem with new software, and that software tanked. As passengers filed in between the stowed bags, you guys know the story, okay? Boeing 737 MAX 8. Every step of this process, there is someone who is a middleman who is trying to seek more profit margins, seek higher profit margins by cutting corners. You hire less engineers. You hire less mechanics. You change regulation so that the level of control that you have and the checks and many redundancies that you're supposed to have get eliminated. Because why would you have redundancies? You have to eliminate redundancies. And when it comes to air travel, you can't eliminate redundancies. You just can't do that. Anyway, Boeing donated and sent a ton of money to the up-and-coming socialist state within America, unlike somebody. What is this? In socialist communist state, they wouldn't even have enough to make a plane. Boeing donated and sent a ton of money to the up-and-coming socialist state within America, unlike somebody. What is the socialist state? Little bro isn't in the know about the up-and-coming socialist state. Oh, no. Oh, no. Tell me about the up-and-coming socialist state. They have a commune sponsored by Boeing? No, I'm not in the know. Here's more. Boeing supplier that made Alaska Airlines door plug was warned of defects with other parts, lawsuit claims. Let's watch.
Parts of a jet fuselage to fly off during a flight. This door plug landed in someone's backyard in Oregon, and officials now say that it's unclear if that part was actually bolted in place. And airlines say they're finding loose parts on other grounded jets from the Boeing 737 MAX line. Our Chris Van Cleve is looking into this. Chris, good morning.
Well, good morning, Anne-Marie. United says it appears that those loose bolts stem from the manufacturing process of those specific 737 MAX 9 airplanes. Now, with the MAX 9 grounded, we are waking up to another day of hundreds of flight cancellations at airports across the U.S. But NTSB investigators are making progress and appear to be honing in on a key component. It appears it's becoming all about the bolts. The 4 bolts that should have kept the door panel from flying off this Alaska 737 MAX 9 last Friday are so far unaccounted for.
We have not yet recovered the 4 bolts that restrain it from its vertical movement, and we have not yet determined if they existed there.
And it's loose bolts like this one on a similar panel of a United Airlines MAX 9 raising new concerns. CBS News has learned United has found loose bolts on at least 5 of.
I don't get it. I thought it was the dumb woman pilot hitting the eject fake door button. I'm a Tim Pool viewer, and this is how my worldview is shaped. I don't understand. Maybe it's the woman bolt person. Maybe that's who's responsible. Did they hire a woman bold person?
Of its grounded airliners, with more inspections yet to come. Alaska Airlines is also now finding what it calls loose hardware on some of its MAX 9 fleet.
If you can't trust the manufacturer to tighten those bolts, can you trust them to tighten all the other bolts in the airplane?
We are focused on the evidence, and we're going to have to look at this aircraft. But again,
no. You can't, technically. But the reality is, it's most likely, here's most likely happening. Okay? Somewhere along the manufacturing process, when they're making that door plug, either there was not enough quality assurance, quality control, or something. And basically what ended up happening is, like, instead of putting that door plug from the inside, maybe they put it from the outside or something, so it doesn't pressurize adequately, and eventually it pulls the bolts out. Problem is, you can't have a situation where you're like in airplanes where there's multiple exits, where there is supposed to be an exit row on this airplane. They probably have less to worry about. This seems like something that they haphazardly put together when they shouldn't be haphazardly put together, because it is a fucking airplane. The problem is, that they don't give a shit about quality assurance, because they can somehow find a way to recover from it, even if their products are getting worse and worse year over year.
we will go broader if we need to.
Helping focus the NTSB investigation, the recovery of the plane's missing piece, the 63-pound door panel that landed in physics teacher Bob Sauer's backyard.
My heart did start beating a little faster at that point, because I thought, oh my goodness, people have been looking for this all weekend.
When that piece of plane blew out with 177 on board, it caused the cabin to depressurize with so much force it ripped the shirt off a teenage passenger who changed seats to get away from the gaping hole left behind.
And somebody just kind of jumped over me, plopped down in the middle seat, grabbed the mask and put it on, and it was this kid, and he didn't have a shirt on.
Kelly Bartlett took these pictures.
The oxygen mask dropped, and it was just a really scary moment because it was so sudden, came out of nowhere. It just really scared everyone.
Now, Boeing says it regrets the impact of this disruption for the airlines and for
Imagine losing your V-load in this. Bro, my Balencis. Yo. That's fucked up.
passengers, saying in a statement, "We are committed to ensuring every Boeing airplane meets design specifications and the highest safety and quality standards." The company will be holding an all-hands safety summit in Seattle later this morning, Anne-Marie.
All right, Chris, just quickly, what more do we know about these loose bolts, and could this have caused the door plug to actually come off in the middle of that flight?
Well, this door plug and how it attaches to the airplane is surprisingly complicated.
My favorite part about this, by the way, is that Tim Pool already accounted for this and immediately hand-waved it away. Like, Tim Pool's coverage on the story comes after this information was revealed. So he literally said, yeah, some people are saying it's a door plug, or a bolt or something, which we don't think. We think it's women and black people.
We spent a lot of time last night at that NTSB press conference trying to get our heads around it. But, you know, though, basically, if those bolts are in place and properly installed, that panel should not move. What happens if they're loose? The panel presumably could move. Do those bolts become looser over time? Those are questions that, you know, would need to get borne out here. But those are bolts that should come from the manufacturer, the airlines say, fully tightened. And in at least a handful of cases so far, it appears that that is not what the airlines are finding. In this specific Alaska Airlines incident where the panel flew off the airplane, I asked their investigators plainly, if that is bolted in properly, that door does not fly away, correct? And they say yes. So the question becomes...
That's a great journalism moment right there. Yeah, man. Yeah, it doesn't. Tight bolts on a door plug don't often just fly out. Yeah.
Where are the bolts? Were the bolts ever there? If they weren't there, did they break? And what happened to them? So they're going to have to do some metallurgy type research in the NTSB lab, looking at the door, looking at the mounts on the airplane to try to sort of forensically figure some of that out. Right. But they seem very confident that they'll be able to get to that answer.
So yesterday when we were talking about this, there were like two things that we did know about this plane. A, that this design has been around for about a decade. So the likelihood that this is a design flaw is probably kind of low because there's a lot of planes like this. That this particular plane was only a couple of months old, so we're not talking about wear and tear. So then does this raise the question of Boeing's quality control on the production line?
Interesting to think about. Why is it that the same plane that has been around for such a long period of time all of a sudden is having some serious new quality control issues? I wonder if there's any reason. What could have happened at Boeing in the time frame? Oh, that's right. They hired more black people and brown people. That's right. That's what I was thinking. Thank God. It certainly has nothing to do with, cost-cutting initiatives. That would never be the case. The real motive always and forever will be the profit motive. Okay? That's it.
You know, Boeing has been having some issues with quality control for some time, and it will raise that question. What we know from the United airplanes that they've looked at so far, they are in a range of ages. So when I asked, were they...
Yeah, what did Boeing do with all the money they got? Wait a minute, what? Boeing sets new U.S. $20 billion buyback plan. Wait a minute. Are you telling me Boeing has cash on hand while doing mass layoffs and not even raising their employees' wages at all? Are turning around and taking that cash on hand to engage in stock buybacks? I'm going to go ahead and assume that this has nothing to do with anything. They could have maybe invested it back into, I don't know, quality assurance, quality control. Probably none of those things. It must be the black people and brown people that they Yeah. It's got to be the black and brown people that they're hiring. Bro, you're angry on behalf of your brother? I mean, look, as an independent, objective, truth-seeking journalist, my brother's place of employment does not play a role in this. Okay? That's all I'm going to say.
It's something where, like, plain...
Stock buybacks don't make doors fly off, Lamau. Exactly. Silly Hasan.
1, 2, 3, 4, like they rolled off the line one after another, and they said no. There are various ages. Some have been used more heavily than others. So that points to like sporadic, potentially points to sporadic quality control issues on the 737 MAX line. And this comes at a time when Boeing has been looking to increase the production rate.
They have a duty to shareholders. Learn about something for once. Ironic because, like, those shareholders take planes too. You know what I mean? I mean, that person is being sarcastic too. It's just like, you can't really escape this kind of like, never-ending profit-seeking, corner-cutting attitude. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass. You know what I mean? Also, ironically, the shareholders lose value and the Boeing value tanks as a consequence of the planes falling apart mid-flight. Now you got a whole fleet of 737 MAX planes that are now landed and can't take flight. So what's up?
Of the 737 MAX, which admittedly is a cash cow for Boeing, and they have years worth of orders lined up.
Really interesting. Chris, thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Millions of us, rather, went to bed listening to the roar of those wicked storms.